everybody. Welcome to the Otherz podcast. I am your host, Stephen Penny. Somebody different joining me this week, in fact. Another New York native, I believe native, but not our usual one. David is not with us this week. He's far too busy working and earning all of that money to waste on more shoes. But we've got another special guest, friend of the show, Chris Jordan. How you doing, Chris?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I thought I was gonna have a little bit tougher time coming out today, but they got a festival going on. I had to weave through that.
But you made it, so that's all that matters.
Right,
that's good.
Right.
And whereabouts in New York are you? You're not like central. You're a bit further out.
Yeah, I'm about 20 minutes from the Bronx. I'm from Portchester, New York, but Manhattan raised me, and I played a lot in the Bronx as well. So I'm like a transplant, but I will always love my town.
All right, cool. So people that listen to the podcast may have heard us talk about you before. You got a book out, and you got some like T-shirts you design, and you got other stuff going on. So when we get to the end of the show, we'll plug some of that, and we'll stick all the links in the show notes so people can get hold of that stuff if they want to. All right, so this week we are talking about Let's Get Blown by Snoop Dogg, featuring Keisha Cole, who I think is uncredited on this, and also Vanessa Marquez, who was on Star Trek for a while with some vocals in there as well. So this was released on the 14th of December 2004, although I've mistyped in my notes and it says 2014, which doesn't make sense. Not a brilliantly performing track. This followed Drop It Like It's Hot, which obviously was a smash all around the world. But this one got to 13 in the UK, number 2 in Belgium, and a lowly 54 in the US charts. So is this a song you remember when it came out back in 2004?
Oh, bro, it was more than just that. So yeah, like you said, he followed up with the Drop It Like It's Hot, and then this came on. So at the beginning of the video, it's like a precursor, like it comes in, and then that's the background music, and then he cuts to it. But Drop It Like It's Hot it's almost like a contrast. So you went street, then you went back and had something for the girls, and like I hung out with a bunch of girls, but a lot of them are like hippie stoners. So that became like a groove that you could step to. And so where we were was super big. That was definitely the cruise music for the following summer of 2005, because we were all like in high school senior year, and you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it. Snoop has a bigger influence on the East Coast than most people think.
Yeah, it's a strange one because, as I say, it's a December release, but it is a very summer-esque kind of track. It's got that proper West Coast kind of feel to it.
Yeah, and that's what you always love about Snoop is even no matter who he's with, he's gonna give you Snoop. I think that's what makes him age well in hip hop.
Yeah, definitely. So what else have we got about the video? Directed by Paul Hunter, who we've mentioned in the past, has worked with Pharrell, N.E.R.D, lots of other artists. The video itself shot in quite an iconic LA house. It's John Lautner's Sheets and Goldstein house, which, if I remember correctly, I had flashbacks earlier, it's also used in that really awful 2 Chainz song that's produced by Pharrell. Is it Feds Taking Pictures or something like that?
Yeah,
do you know the one?
Yeah.
I'm not a 2 Chainz fan, so yeah, not interested in that.
The song was cool, but it was when the Clips did it, well, the Re-Up Gang did it, and I was like, okay, now I like the song. And then when I came back, I don't even like hearing 2 Chainz on it. It's totally different vibe. Yeah,
I can't be doing it for 2 Chainz, but yeah, same house. It's that kind of iconic glass wall in I think it's in the bedroom that wall is in, where it's 2 walls, in fact, where it kind of joins at a point and faces out over LA itself from up in the hills. So the video itself, I kind of gave it a rewatch earlier. It crops up sort of every now and again for me on YouTube, and I'll sit there and watch it, but there's nothing special about the video.
No.
It's a very generic video to me. As you say, it's got that little intro at the start, and I'm not a fan of those kinds of intros, those like segues from like one video to another,
right,
where they're trying to act. You know, you've got it in Beautiful as well, where he answers the phone, and it's similar in this. I'm really not a fan of those things. I just want to get into the music itself, but it's got that intro. It's got a bad Nokia product placement, which I think happens in a few Snoop videos as well.
Yeah, he was definitely getting a check.
yeah, for sure. I don't know if I'm remembering this right, but I vaguely remember him, like, he had some kind of deal with him, and he may have been in like an advert for Nokia as well back then in the early 2000s. But I think there are a couple of videos where those crappy plastic Nokia phones do crop up.
Yeah, if you go around now, you can probably still have that phone from that time, that hard shell. You can throw it against the wall. It's not going anywhere. Those phones are horrible.
For sure. And, I live in Finland, and this is where Nokia comes from. It's actually a town here in Finland.
Oh, okay.
And I can kind of, you walk around town here in Finland, in Helsinki and stuff, and you will still see people using those phones. They still last even to this day, and the people of Finland still love them.
Yeah, that's almost like the grandpa phone. Like, they can't really function with the smartphone, so you give them something basic like that.
Yeah, but I think here it's younger people that still have them as well. It's like that ironic hipster kind of vibe thing where, like, you go back and just use all the old-timey kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of retro stuff is coming back. There's a couple phones I wouldn't mind having back, but they can keep that.
Yeah, for sure. So what else have we got about the video? One thing I did notice, this is when I talk to people about this video, this is the one where they always mention the Pharrell fit, the Bape fit that he's wearing. He's got that iconic red camo hoodie.
Yeah.
And then he's got that N.E.R.D cartoon t-shirt underneath, which is still one of the most kind of sought after items out there.
Yeah, because the Bape, what is it? The Bape color camo hoodie, I think that's what it's called. It sparked like a frenzy in my neighborhood. And everybody seemed to have them. After that video dropped, everybody had them, and it was almost the precursor to the Cause Milo zip-ups.
Yeah,
and then they had a bunch of bootlegs going around, and a lot of people were wearing them, trying to keep up. And you can quickly decipher who has the authentic ones and who doesn't. But they had the red one, and you couldn't go anywhere in New York without seeing one of those.
Yeah, definitely. I remember sort of seeing them absolutely everywhere, and then they were almost impossible to get hold of, at least for like me in the UK. And I remember seeing them like reselling on eBay for like a couple of grand and stuff, and it was ridiculous. But even now, like those OG ones, not the re-releases, but the OGs from like early 2000s, they still go for like silly money as well.
Yeah, and you said the what was it, the Shad Pharrell shirt. I got a few connections in terms of like getting stuff, and I'm not gonna sit in line or do anything crazy like that. But I still, to this day, I'm looking for that shirt, and I cannot for the life of me find it. Like, if you can find it, or anybody out there has it, please drop me a line. I need 2 of those.
We all need 2 of them.
Because you can't find those anywhere. It's almost like they did like how Virgil kind of does now with Don C, and they'll kind of have stuff for themselves, and then everybody else gets others.
Yeah.
But
I still see them crop up maybe once or twice a year on certain Facebook groups and stuff, and on Instagram. And yeah, those tees are still, they get snapped up like immediately, and they still go for like stupid money as well. They're still going. I think the last one I saw was like 400 or 500 or something stupid like that.
Oh my god! Well,
yeah,
get your money. Get your money.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like an iconic sort of fit in that video. There was nothing like BBC branded, even though we had BBC come out already. I think the Bape fit might be a kind of nod to the fact that Nigo is in the video as well. He makes a small cameo at the end of the video.
With the shark bait hoodie.
Exactly, yes. So maybe a little nod to him kind of being there on set as well, just, sticking with the Bape stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just well, a nerd, no pun intended. But it was a point in the video where Pharrell started feeding all the girls ice cream, and I was like, is this like a subtle kind of it's coming kind of thing? I didn't, now looking back on it, it's kind of like, oh, maybe he was telling us the whole time, but I was like, why do you have ice cream in the middle of this party? It kind of seemed weird when I was watching it, but now I'm like, oh, maybe he was telling.
Some subliminals there, yeah, perhaps.
But I go too far with it. I start reading stuff. I'm like, why is he holding his hands this way? Once I saw that, I'm like, why you have ice cream in the middle of this party? It has nothing to do with anything.
He wanted people like, his feet are pointed at like 19 degrees and 23 degrees, and the angle in between equals this, which is like the track number off of this, and that means
right.
Go down some weird rabbit hole.
Yeah, I can't go too far, but along the same lines of the clothing, Snoop, in the middle of this time when this was coming out, he was going through, like, to me, it was like a rebrand. So if you weren't a Snoop fan, you weren't really paying attention, but all throughout the video, he had velours, jumpsuits. He had the mechanic. He had a blue denim mechanic one. And it seems like he was putting his clothing line on the map at the same time. So it was kind of like a little synergy kind of deal. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember some of that Snoop Dogg clothing as well from back then. It was fairly awful.
It was very awful.
Yeah.
I love you, Snoop, but we weren't wearing that.
Yeah, I think I'm sure I actually owned one piece of something, like a T-shirt or something. But yeah, but that was early 2000s when literally every rapper out there was signing some kind of deal with somebody. We had like Vocal, and we had like Reebok signing up everybody, and every rapper had something.
They got Pharrell, and then they lost Pharrell.
Yeah.
Sad.
So what else have we got about the song itself? Are you a fan of the song?
Big fan. That album that came out was underrated. It was one of Snoop's better releases to do. And now not so more anymore, but to have one producer. Oh, I'm back. It has one producer do your whole album. The song that came out on Rhythm and Gangsta, it if you listen to it as a whole, it fits. Sometimes when you get a single, it's kind of like they're pushing for some type of narrative, but it fits. And as me, back then, heavy in the cannabis, it was perfect. Like I said, it was something for the girls to dance to, and then like the guys as well. So it was definitely that summer of '05. That was one of the songs on our playlist for the parties. Let's Get Blown, because it just had like you said, it came out in December, November, something like that. But the vibe was incredible. Yeah, song in general. That song, Drop It Like It's Hot, was cool, and then he had Signs come out after
Signs
that?
was after that, yeah, which was like big in the clubs sort of into the summer and stuff.
So like how was the reaction in the UK? Because here is different when we get like an American artist. Like,
yeah, it's... Well, firstly, my memory doesn't really go back that far, unfortunately. So it's not like there was some epic event that happened and, I remember where I was when I first heard that song or anything. It got kind of average play. Like I say, it got to about 13 in the UK charts, which isn't too bad, I guess. It got plenty of like club play, and because the video was sort of fairly generic, I guess, it got plenty of kind of TV play as well on MTV and stuff like that when they actually played music videos.
oh yeah,
But like it never sort of blew up. It's not a track that people will say to me, oh shit, do you remember Let's Get Blown, or do you remember that video, or anything like that. It kind of just, it was popular for a minute. And again, I think a lot of that is because of it came off of the back of Drop It Like It's Hot. And then it just kind of drifted off into the distance, I think.
yeah. If you weren't really paying attention to Snoop, that wasn't the song that's going to get you on the team.
Yeah, I think especially if you're like a Neptunes fan or a Pharrell fan, you follow this kind of thing, then it's one that you you know, and you probably like it. It's not a bad song. It's not one of the best, but it's not bad. And like we say, it's a good sort of summer jam. But for the average casual listener, I don't think it really did anything at the time, and probably hasn't stuck in many people's minds.
Yeah, but it wasn't for the average. But a lot of the stuff in the video was kind of cool. Like he did like the Obrigado Brazil. He did the pose at the beginning, and I'm like, oh, okay. So y'all shot these videos all at the same time. I get it now.
Yeah.
But that song was cool because that's when Pharrell started getting real. Oh, we're back. Yeah, that was cool because Pharrell started doing the yes sir on every song.
We get that at the beginning in the intro, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is cool. He finally has an ad lib. But then, like, I remember going to class and, like, I want to say my history teacher said it to me, and we roasted him. And almost like he was trying to fit in. I was like, man, this song really went commercial. Like, I just thought it was something that we, put on at the party. I didn't know that everybody was listening to it over here, but that song went way further here than I thought it would go. Because I'm like, dude, you're like 47, 48. Why are you listening to Pharrell and Snoop? And why are you saying yes, sir? No, let's get him. And we epic day of roasting,
But that's the influence that, this kind of music and these kind of people have.
Yeah, but which is kind of weird. Like I was saying, he's like in the middle of his rebranding, and he went from super gangster to I don't really know. And then he linked up with Pharrell. And then after that, his whole, he kind of made a quick right and started doing more like, I don't know, pop friendly.
More commercial stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say pop. That's kind of like a bad connotation. But yeah, it was more of that. But Pharrell was the guy. Him and Chad were the guys to go to for that sound at that time. Like if you didn't have a Pharrell song, what were you doing with your career?
Oh yeah, exactly. Early 2000s, they were on everything basically. And I think if you're someone like Snoop and you're looking for a slightly new direction, or you're trying to kind of make this comeback or something, and you see the success they've had, with other rappers and on other tracks, and when they're producing whole albums, then you're going to jump in there and just go with it, I guess.
Yeah, the pivot wasn't bad. Like I said, it's one of my more favorite albums from Snoop, Rhythm and Gangsta. If you don't have it, I'm sure it's somewhere on like iTunes or something for like $4. Go get it, because the whole thing is just like Neptune's at his finest. Like every song on there has that signature sound that I wish at some point they bring it back, because I want to say from like 2000 to like had that weird sound. I saw a video of Pharrell. He had the sound card and he was waving. He said, we burned the sound card on this one and that one and that one. But I want them to go back to that sound at some point, and maybe it'll take an artist to do a whole album with just Chad and Pharrell to bring that back. Yeah,
definitely. Those classic sounds, especially when you're at that kind of age, I guess, when you're really getting into music and they make an impact on your life and it influence you in some kind of way.
Yeah, I'm a super fan. I got an ice cream tattoo and the whole nine. Like, I'm waiting for. I'm no lie. Around that time, like with 2000, when they really started like taking off, like we were trying to like everybody was rappers back then, and like I'm like, man, you need to come sign us. I was trying to get a record deal so bad, so bad.
So you say you've got an ice cream tattoo as well.
Yeah, on back of my left arm. Only because like at the time, I don't know what was I doing, tattoo crazy at the time, and I needed something different. But something happened, and Pharrell did something. It's gonna come to me at some point, but he did something, and I was like, all right, cool. Now I can be a creative. Like this is the space that I want to play in, and like he was like not a muse, but he was definitely like an inspiration. And so like we all getting tattoos at the time, and I was getting a logo from a friend of mine. He started a company, and now I'm a part of it, but. I was like, no, I need the ice cream one. So I got it, and people were like, why you got an angry ice cream on your arm? And I'm like, if you know, you know.
I get the same with mine. I've got like the N.E.R.D brain logo on my arm, and the comments I get, I'm like, why have you got a brain that looks like a light bulb on your arm? It's like, yeah. If you know, you know. If you don't, then yeah.
Yeah, you missed the mark. I mean, even happens now. Like if you wear ice creams or any of the original clothing, people will go like my niece and a bunch of her little friends one time I was at a party and they're like, why you got a wolf on your shirt? Or like, why is there ice cream? I'm like, and to this day, like if you still not into that culture, you don't understand the impact when it first came out to still have like dead stock stuff and like original, like right now I have a shirt from like back then and I can still wear it just because it's that durable. But they don't make clothes like that anymore where you can, and they still look fairly recent. They don't look like they're that old. But
I was thinking, yeah, like this week I was over in London for a couple of days and I was swinging by the BBC store, had to go and meet Andre, so shout out Andre that works at the BBC store in London. And whenever I kind of go over, I always try and wear like one of the OG pieces or something. So I took over a season 1 Cone Man crew neck in turquoise. And I wore that, and like, it's one of those tops where, again, it's people that know about that stuff and people that work in the store they're always like, oh man, I love the top. That's great. But then you meet random people and they're like, why have you got an ice cream cone on your top with a face on it? Why does it say ice cream on the back? Like, what are you wearing?
yeah, I like it even more now than I did when all that stuff started coming out, and that was like when they first started coming with the camo hoodies, and then they had like the Bapesters and all of that, because that was still at a time where if you had something supreme like that, well, not supreme, but something like that, like you had to have either paid for it or you had to have had a connect. Now it seems like everything is saturated where you can go to the store and just take a whole mannequin and just say, here, I'm buying this whole thing. But ice cream then was kind of like, if you weren't in that world, you didn't know, so it had that luster and exclusivity about it. But then like now, if you try to find somebody with it, it has the same reverence where you can go and like, where'd you get the beepers from, or get the board flip sequels or the original board flips and like the clothes, and it still holds that. And right now you can go and everybody has the same outfit on or the same shoes. Everybody doesn't have ice cream. Everybody doesn't have BBC, so it's still cool.
Yeah, I was having this conversation this week as well, and a lot of this changed a number of years back when the company Iconics got involved with BBC, and when Pharrell let a lot of his, I think not all, but the majority of his shares go in the company to Iconics, who are a company that were invested in like Rockaware and some other brands. And that was when things really went like downhill for the company. That's when Iconics wanted to make it like super available, so they started making everything cheap in China and giving BBC accounts to like any like department store, no matter how crap it was, like across the country. And you could walk into like any clothing store anywhere and find like BBC ice cream stuff. And since they've kind of, I don't know if Iconics still have shares in the company. I wouldn't want to say they do or don't. From my understanding, they were bought back out by Pharrell and partners. And they're trying to kind of scale that stuff back now and close those accounts down and make it a bit more limited again. But obviously, contracts are signed and that kind of thing takes a long time to do.
Man, well, Pharrell, if you're listening, Chad, anybody in that inner circle, Shay, anybody, please bring back the board flips. Bring back the board flips, the original ones. The sequels are cool. Me, my brother, my cousins, nobody had those at the time, so it was almost like an astronaut walking down the street. If you had the blue and white ones, or my favorite was the tan, brown, and pink ones, the Halloween ones. Like when you walk down the street with those, like it was just like, what the heck is? No, I'm not telling you, and I'm not telling you where to get them. No, the ice cream beat it. But I wish they brought that one specifically back, and then do more of the clothes, because they still got BBC. Like they just released like the duffel, the backpack, and it was like the green camo.
Yes,
like
that's the space
from the.
Yes, that's the Space Beach camo that they actually released back in like 2005, I think it was originally. And then that's like an EU exclusive. So that was like Ross and Joe over here in the London store that redesigned and reimagined it, and have bought this out. I know Ross has had the samples of that bag for like a year or a year and a half or something, and I know I was pestering him quite a lot to get some release dates. And I copped one of the duffel bags, in fact, although I still haven't used it.
Jealous.
But yeah, I do love that design, so I made sure I copped something from it. But yeah, it's these kind of like iconic prints and stuff, which I'm really glad to see are coming back in like limited sort of quantities and little bits of the designs here and there.
Yeah, I saw you guys. I saw you on Instagram with it, and you guys were talking about it. But that's when I was watching this video last night. When I saw the Bape color camo hoodie, that's what made me think of like, oh, are they subtly bringing it back? Like, is it coming full circle? Because all of this stuff is cyclical. I was like, well, maybe this is the rebirth of the whole. I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thing.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I know the problem we have now with BBC is each location works very independently. So the US design their own stuff and release it. The European store, so the guys in London design, release stuff themselves, and the same in Japan as well. And I know they have some, some ability to utilize some of the older designs, but I also know, or the feeling I get is that they're not that keen on like rehashing stuff over and over again, even though some stuff is like iconic, and fans really want to see like the original like Diamond and Dollar prints and all those kinds of things. They're more about trying to move forward, make it fresher, and not kind of constantly live off of those designs from 10, 15 years ago or whatever it was.
Cough, Nike, cough. But that's sweet if they're trying to bring back the innovation in it, because that's what made them cool to begin with. It was exclusive, but when you wore that, you're like, what is that? Like I'm trying to go to Tokyo and next year, and because I saw a bunch of Billionaire Girls Club stuff, and I'm like, if I get it in a size big enough, I could squeeze into that. Like even the stuff that's not even designed for the guys are pretty cool. Like I seen a few crew necks, and I was like,
yep.
Oh, that's unisex. That's just not for y'all. I'm about to take that.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. The girls' club stuff. They've not done anything for a minute with that. It's been a year and a half before when they last put something big out. I think yesterday they dropped some images of all the new tees and crew necks and hoodies and stuff. But you remember, 2 or 3 years ago when they originally started doing that line, and Pharrell was just wearing the girls' club hoodies all the time, and they look really, really good. So yeah, if they had them big enough, I think I probably would cop one as well, but I don't think they do.
No, I'm a fan. I'm just trying to see what they're gonna do, but like I said, watching the video last night gave me like maybe they're trying to rehash it and like start from zero, because it was just Nigo at the time, and then nobody really knew what he was doing, with Bape, and then Bape blew up out of nowhere, and then that red camo hoodie, they had the purple and then they had the blue, because I think they had the purple one in Hustler music video. But once that came out, and then Pharrell just took off, but maybe because I know he got a strong hold in the sneaker side now, maybe he'll go back to the clothing part, because that's what's missing. Cause I think they did the hues in like 80,000 colors, and then
don't talk to me about that. Oh God!
And then the Stan Smiths, they kind of got away from that. At first, it was a few colors, and then like I saw a collage on Instagram the other day, and it was literally like the rainbow and then some.
Yeah,
I was like, what's going on? They saturated it, so who knows?
Yeah, it's a funny one with the shoes, because they did that with the early Adidas stuff. They had like a rainbow effect almost. I know David's got like all but 5 pairs, I think, and there are something like 46 different colours, something ridiculous like that. And now the tennis hues, we must be at like, I don't know how many combinations. We've got to be at like 50 or something, 60 odd, because you've got the standard men's ones, which is the majority. You've got women's only ones, which have their own colorways. You've got kids only colorways as well, which my kid keeps pestering me for. I think I've got like I was kind of intent on like trying to collect as many as possible, and I think I've got to like 15 or 20 pairs of the tennis shoes, and I was like, I'm out. There's too many. I can't be doing it anymore.
Yeah, it's almost like you working for Adidas or something. It's like you get a check and then it goes there. I slowed down on those. I'm a genuine sneakerhead, so I got a ton of stuff. I've been collecting a bunch more Deodoras lately, but back to that. I wish they would bring the board flips back. Please, please, please. I got a few people right now that are willing to. We'll all go in the store together and just buy the whole store up if you're willing to put them back out. So, Pharrell, please, we need those.
It's really funny because David always tells me like his favorite shoes are the board flips as well, and I am not a fan whatsoever of the board flips.
Oh, they're like the most comfortable shoe next to the Dunk. That's like I can wear those as house shoes. I throw them around, but if you're not careful, the front of the toe on that, it'll crack. So you have to like be very sensitive about where you're stepping sometimes until you break them in, because if you don't, they'll crack and then forget about it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you're desperate for a pair, you can always hit up David.
Yeah, we'll all converse. We'll converse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was telling my brother when I first started interacting with y'all on Instagram, and I was like, I know a dude, he got clothes, and I know another dude, he got shoes. We might be back in business. He was like, man, send it down. And I was like, he's in New York. Talk, man. So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out. But how is it different? Because I remember you guys came over and did the sneaker review, and you guys were in the New York store. How is the UK store different from our store?
So like the US one is obviously like the main flagship.
Yeah.
So it's a lot bigger. It's a lot flashier. It's kind of meant to be. The UK store is very small. So what actually happened in the UK store was they originally had what was it called? I can't think of the name of it, but it was originally like a Bape store. And the only place you could actually get BBC in the UK was a store called The Hideout, which was a few doors down, in fact. But then when I can't remember if this came before or after Nego kind of stepped away from Bape, but they got rid of the UK store.
Okay.
So the UK operations was run by Craig Ford, and then Dan Doyle, who works for Nego now, was like store manager there. And it eventually just kind of faded away when everything started going a bit downhill with Bape. And I think Nego wanted to step away. But what they did was, because of the kind of ties between Dan and Nego and Pharrell and Craig, they actually repurposed it into the first kind of BBC store in London. So you had Dan there running the BBC store for a time, and then Craig, who runs Anon, a number of names, they were kind of like the import partner for BBC, and they still are, but now they're obviously designing and leading their own stuff here in Europe. That store, I don't know why, it may have just been because of rents, it may have been because of renovation or whatever, that kind of closed down after a year and a half or so. But they just kind of moved down the street, basically. So if you've ever been to the original Bape store in London or the original BBC store there, you've not been there since, the new BBC store is just like literally down the street. But it's a very kind of typical London boutique. You go in, it's very small. It's like any boutique, but especially like BBC stuff, where you've literally just got one size of each item hanging up. You don't have multiples in different sizes. And then you kind of go in, you've got like little steps down into like a little basement area, which recently has had like the walls redone. So it's got that Space Beach camo print, but like all around the wall. So like, top to bottom, and it looks really, really good as well. So they've got that in there. So it's a really nice kind of well-designed, simple, clean store. I always pop in there when I'm over there. I always spend too much money when I'm over there. I'll be back there in a couple of weeks, in fact, to pick up some more stuff. But yeah, it's strange because, like I say, they all do kind of work almost completely independently now. And I know that like when they move stuff from one store to the other, so when like the US store wants to sell some of the EU exclusives, they have to kind of, request it and kind of pay them separately and have it sent over. And there's a whole kind of logistics to it. It's not just like they're all one big company and they can move stuff around freely. So I guess it makes it a little bit more difficult, but I kind of quite like it that way, in the fact that it means you've got different people with different backgrounds, different mindsets, different reference points, all designing different things in different places. And it means you get, these different items. We get stuff in the EU that you would never see out of Japan or the US. And again, because they're just made here for us initially, they're very limited.
Right. But I mean, that makes sense now that you explain it like that, because the aesthetics in different places are different. So like, I don't really like chains. So, but when I found out about the UK store and then I found out about the Japan store, you can really see the influence of wherever they are, wherever that is geographically in the clothes. So that's
they're very different. I think if you didn't know much about BBC and you went into like the US store, and then a week later you came to London and you went in the London store, you probably wouldn't realize they were like the same brand, the same company.
Right.
You would think they're just different stores. Oh, and they've got a few items here that are the same. They both got Pharrell books or BBC Bear bricks or whatever it may be. Or there's a couple of clothes that are similar. But I don't think you'd necessarily put two and two together and think, oh yeah, these are both the same brand, in fact.
Yeah, I might have to, now we talking about it, I might have to go get it. What does he call it? The King effect? I think.
Exactly, yeah, the King effect, yeah. Can blame David for it. But yeah, but if there is anything on like the EU store that anybody abroad ever wants or outside of the EU, they do really good shipping rates, and there is a new shipping service coming in soon as well. I think at the moment they do like overnight express. I think it's like UPS or something, and it's like £14 or something, which is, I don't know what that is in dollars, like $10 or something. I don't know. And that's really good, but they're now bringing in like a 5-day thing. So if you can wait a few days for your package, it's like literally costs like a few dollars or a few pounds. Makes it even easier to spend your money.
Yeah, I got a few family members out in out that way, Bolton area, that kind of trip.
Mm-hmm. Highly recommend it.
Just because I want to see, just because I want to see like how it works. You know what I'm saying? You got, like I said, we're trying to go to the Tokyo one because a friend wants to pee out there, and I was like, well, if I got the time, I'll go. But I'm definitely going to that store because I've seen a few pieces colorways that they don't have over here. But London one, a couple people told me, he's like, yeah, you got to go here in Oxford Street and this and that. I was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, that's where I'm going.
Yeah. And I've got to say the Japan stuff is like low key really, really good at the moment. They've recently put out some like really nice shorts and shirts and tees and stuff, which are Japan exclusives, and they're really, really nice. But the problem is getting stuff shipped from Japan, and the taxes and import duties is a nightmare.
Yeah, DHL is a lot of stuff that comes from over there. Just the custom stuff. I remember one time I got something from out there. They didn't bring it to my house. I had to go to the airport to pick it up. But
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but yeah, here in Finland we pay like 20% VAT on everything imported, and importing stuff you have to go on like the customs website, which is only in Finnish, and you have to like type in like the exact material of what the item is and all this kind of crap, and it's an absolute nightmare.
Nuts, bro.
So it can make it a bit tricky when you're based here.
Damn. Yeah, I'm going. We'll figure it out. I'll figure out the logistics. I got to get to London.
I think Tokyo is on my list at some point in the next year or two, and again, like the BBC stories will be top of that list if as and when I go. But yeah, like when I came to New York, sort of earlier in the year, a big part of that was we were going to go to the store and do some stuff and go and meet the guys at the office and have some conversations about certain things. But yeah, it was really good to kind of get there and spend some time with everybody in the store, everyone that you only normally kind of interact with via Instagram and stuff.
Right.
That's the joys of this podcast, bringing us all together and spending all of our money for us.
Yeah, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I'm excited, man. I'm well, when you hit me up to do it, man, I was just like, oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, man, because I've done podcasts and like, I'm a fan of the stuff, and I thought like, all right, cool, it's gonna be hard. I might have to do some homework and stuff, but then I'm just like, nah, this is the kind of stuff that we talk about. Like it's not too many nerds about BBC and ice cream. Like my business partner, Dave Van Norden, he actually put me on to Pharrell and all of that when we first became friends when we were like in like junior high, and then ever since then, like oh, did you see the new Nego such and such? And I'm like, what? No, that sounds weird. I'm not looking at it. I'm not even, no, don't even come to me with that. I'm not, no. And then he showed me and I'm like, what the hell is that? And ever since then, and I think he just sent me like a Snapchat a couple days ago, like showing me a bag, like, aha. But,
It's always strange how, a musician, a producer, a clothing brand, or whatever it may be, can kind of bring all of us kind of random people together in some kind of way.
Yeah, because when you guys started it, I was just I saw on it, and then I was just like, oh, all right, cool. And he's like, oh yeah, we got a podcast, by the way. And I was like, what? I'm in. But then I'm just like, then I found out that you're all the way out there, and I'm like, see, this is what it's about. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do with the location, time differences and stuff, but this is like how we want to do things in the future. If Dave can't make it, then we reach out to the likes of yourself and other people that follow us, and we just bring people in, and we sit here and we chat shit for half an hour or an hour. We talk about our experiences, what we like, don't like, and we cover everything.
Yeah, and then like because of y'all, I started following more people. So like, remember George, Shimmy Hoffa, like they got some cool, especially Shimmy Hoffa. He's cool on Instagram. He always comes up with the cool little videos and real eclectic stuff, and I'm into that. And then like, the Pierre dude, he's cool. I don't know who Evan Pierce is, but whoever that is, like the visuals are like they're super dope.
That's Dave's brother. Shout out Ev.
Dope, yeah. Shout out to you, bro. And then like it. So, like, just getting plugged into y'all, too, and then, like, finding more people that are like-minded is pretty dope. And then, like, bridging the gap. But, like, it doesn't matter what culture you're from or whatever. Dope is dope. So, like, BBC ice cream is hot no matter where you're from. Kind of fly that way. That's why I want to go to Tokyo and kind of meet some Japanese folk that's down with it. Thanks, Pharrell. Thanks, Chad.
I will pass on your regards in a couple of weeks when I hopefully see them.
Okay, yeah, that's dope.
So yeah, they're out here in Finland in a couple of weeks, and we should hopefully have some passes sorted out. So I think I went to see Quincy Jones last week. I spent a small amount of that show crying like a schoolgirl, and then I think
Quincy will do that.
Quincy will do that, and seeing people perform those songs and just killed me. And then, yeah, in a couple of weeks, if I'm able to get anywhere near Pharrell, Chad, or Shay, then it may happen again.
Yeah, like I've seen some people in my time. Like I met Will Ferrell once. I met a few like socialite people that are like famous and like kids of like ball players and stuff. But like if I ever ran into Pharrell, like those would be one of the people where I might just be starstruck and just be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I mean, in Chad, he's way more elusive, him too, or like Shay. I'm like, what do you say to, that kind of person? They say never meet your heroes because they're never what you think they are, but
yeah.
Nah, he's on the bucket list. I got to run into him at some time. Like I told you, we were trying to get signed back in the days, and I was like 12. I'm like, what's up, man? Bring back Star Trek. I want in.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out a way of hopefully trying to get sort of 5 minutes with one of them, all of them as well at some point. So there are like a million questions I think that I have, and then I know like the likes of you and other people have as well. Like Like you just said, bring back Star Trek. Are you going to do something like that again? When's the next Clones kind of thing going to happen? Or there's a million different things that I think as fans we'd all want to ask.
Yeah, like Revenge of the Clones. When is that coming back? Or when you're going to bring back the ice cream drippy high tops?
That's very specific, but
man. I got questions I've been trying to ask since I was a kid, man. I'm gonna need more time. We're gonna have to sit down, and then I'm a super duper N.E.R.D fan, then I got a whole nother set of questions outside of the fashion and the footwear, one day we're on our way. I see what you guys are doing, and you'll probably get there a little faster than I would, but once I get there, I got some stuff I got to talk to him. We need to converse.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I need to start prepping at some point because I think if I get 5 minutes with any of them, I think 2.5 minutes of that will be me trying to remember how it is I vocalize and speak and say my grown-up words again,
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, because it's just one of those things, because that's how me and we formed our business together. Well, he started it, and I've been on it with him. It's like Pharrell and Chad. Like he was the Chad, and I'm the Pharrell because I'm more of the extrovert, and he's the more the. But then, to meet them, I wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah, I'm the same. There's only so much you can gush at another human being, And I don't want to be one of those people that are you've changed my life isn't the right word, but this music and this fashion, it's what I've spent all my money on. It's been the soundtrack to my life.
Right.
It's into another person, to say that to another human. If someone said that to me, if they were you changed my life, or I've grown up just listening to you, I'd be like, okay, cool. I appreciate it, but what do you say to that?
I don't know. Say, coupled with that, the book that I just released last year, people caught it and certain things touched them, and then it's just this part, made me see things differently, or this is helping me grow as a person, and I was I don't even know how to receive this right now. Our blood is the blue. We're both blue-blooded. We both pay taxes. I don't know how to get that far involved in myself. They seem humble and low key, but just I don't know how you receive that as a creative or somebody who puts something out, where somebody comes to you and just falls out and cries. That's kind of crazy. It happens, but as a person that it happens to, how do you receive that? But I probably would.
Yeah,
I would definitely clam up at first. Right, 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 50% of the allotted time is just gone to freaking out. Yeah, but this is the kind of the thing I'm trying to sort of work through at the moment. And yeah, if I do get 5 minutes at some point, it's I don't want to jump in and be I've got a podcast about you. I own all your clothes. I love you. I want to try and be a bit more productive about it. But at the same point, I want to try and get across how much this person means to me to a certain extent, and how they have influenced parts of my life, and how their music has tied into all these events that have happened over the years. And it's a strange kind of balance to find, and it's hard to try and find a way to actually to explain that to somebody. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I got married. When you come out to music and stuff like that, Pharrell, Gust of Wind was the walkout music. It's that's how intricate they've been involved in my life. So how do you express that to somebody? Right. I don't know how you put that into words. I feel if there was ever a point in time where I got a weekend and they were there, or I was at a party, I would spend half the time all right, how do I go over there and not come off like a creep? Because I feel if somebody walked up to me and was just yo, I love you, it's kind of oh, this person's trying to kill me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
It's no, I don't want to come and sit in the back of your car with you and talk about things.
But if you do get this Pharrell, Chad, or Shay, anybody over there in that camp, I'm a super creative. I got a lot of things going on, and I would definitely be an asset, not only because I'm a fan, but I got some stuff going on that would be beneficial to y'all. So if anybody in that camp hears this, my name is Christopher Jordan. Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
I'll try and pass on your regards and your CV as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird how that works, man. But I think that around that time, because in '06 they came out with In My Mind, but N.E.R.D was already coming out with, they already dropped In Search Of, and then I think Fire or Die, which is my album. That was the time where it shot up, because then it was just like before they were out and they were doing like ghost production and stuff for other people, but around the time that this Snoop video came out was like, that's when people finally called on like, this Pharrell kid is kind of cool, and then like this sound is pretty dope, and then that's when they like took off after that, and then they went pop. Like then you got the Britney Spears, Christina, you get all those people, and just like blew up after that. But I think around this time when this video came out was just like people were just catching on to it, and then it was just like, so
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, I think we've covered pretty much everything. I reckon we're nearly at an hour, so that's about right. Unless you've got anything else specific about the video or anything else you want to talk about.
Nah, not so much specific to the video. You guys do like a sneaker pickup part. Y'all should continue doing that. Like, that's super. Like, I like that when y'all guys do that, because then like stuff that I didn't catch or didn't see, I ended up finding out about some of the stuff like that. Like I just picked up like a ton of Deodorants. I'm a Deodor. If y'all listening, I love a sponsorship. Let's work something. But like yeah, the sneaker pickup stuff that y'all guys do. Yeah, just past that. Just continue doing this, man, because like you never know who's listening. You never know what's going on. Like I turned a bunch of people on to your guys' podcast, and like some people now like subscribe to it and stuff because they're like fans, and you know they didn't know that like this lane existed. They got podcasts for all sorts of stuff, but never had like a Neptune. Dave got like a cool thing going on. Anything that I can do to further that, I'm down for, because I'm a fan of y'all too from, podcast. So just, y'all do good work, man. Keep it a fan to y'all. I'm a fan of y'all's.
Well, we appreciate it. And I think I speak for Dave as well when I say, yeah, we appreciate that. And everyone else that sends us messages and all that kind of stuff and wants to appear on the podcast. And yeah, we really appreciate it, because I don't think we realised it would start to, I was going to say blown up, it hasn't blown up, but yeah, be as kind of popular as it is, and we didn't expect the kind of engagement that we get from kind of all the people on Instagram and stuff, both on our personal pages and the podcast page, and the emails and stuff we get as well, and tweets. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
but it's good, and we really appreciate it. And like I said earlier, we want to bring people like yourself on here. I'm recording another one later on with somebody else. So, if there's anyone else out there that wants to jump on the podcast, I know a lot of people messaged me about this weekend, and we couldn't kind of work out the logistics. But in the future, people are welcome to jump on like whenever they like. If they've got a free weekend or a free day or evening or something, then, everyone's always welcome to just hit me up and see if I'm free, and I'm always happy to jump on and record something.
Yeah, and I see, but you start somewhere, and then people are gonna start coming up to you like, "Oh, I love your podcast." They're gonna pull up with a tattoo, or they're gonna pull up with a shirt with your face on it, like, "Yo, bro, we go back," and you're like, "Oh my God." Then you're gonna be in that position where you got to figure out how do you receive that love.
Or I'm creeped out, yeah.
Right.
I don't think I could think of anything weirder than someone turning up with my face on a T-shirt.
That would be weird, man. I mean, I've seen some people do some stuff at like shows and like, things like that, but like just to see how somebody can like impact another person's life, like that's why like if this takeaway from this whole thing, me being on here, is like just be kind to people and, always have good vibrations, because you never know who's watching, or like whatever you're putting out, it might be something bigger to somebody that you don't even realize. Like, be aware of like the energy you putting out in the world, because, good or bad or indifferent, like it impacts other people, but stuff like this can bring good folks together. And who knew? I talked to a guy from Finland today.
Exactly, and this is what I've kind of said the last year or so when we've been doing the podcast. Like the people that follow me and send me messages, and that I've met in New York and stuff, and I've met all over the place. that say, oh yeah, I listen to the podcast, it's really good. It's like, it amazes me. There are people like in Harlem and all these kind of random places which I've never been to, and wouldn't think I'd know somebody from places like that. And then there are, these kids in Denmark, and there's people in Brazil listening, and people in Asia. It's like it's weird, but it's great. Yeah, we've got people listening all around the world, and that's what the Others is all about. We're all fans. We're all trying to get on in life and look out for each other, and so yeah, it's what it's about. All right, so now it's I don't have any latest pickups. I don't think. I'm just trying to think if I bought anything while I was away. I did come back with some nice stuff from BBC, but I don't think I can talk about that at the moment. I picked up some nice bits, a couple of signed Quincy Jones posters, went to a nice Michael Jackson exhibition, got some bits from there. But clothing-wise, I don't think there's anything else for me at the moment. Definitely not shoes recently. But apart from that, what have you got to plug? Where can people find you? What's all the stuff they can buy from you? How can they give you their money?
So on Instagram, I am Bush and Poningo, BUSHANDPONINGO, and on Twitter, I'm live since '87, LIVESIN7. Just did a book. Well, I'm a creative now. Themes sounds like kind of hokey. A lot of people are using that phrase a bunch when we were talking about it when nobody knew what it was. But I'm an author now. I had a book come out last year called Memoir, The Ultimate Latchkey. The impact of that is really shifting the narrative on where I come from. There's a lot of places in the world like that. We got a new book coming out this year. I can't give the title away yet, but it's tentatively looking like a December release. We have art exhibit coming in spring or winter-spring next year. My partner in crime with the creative stuff, David Van Norden, he has an EP coming out. I also have an album that I'm gonna do probably the next winter, coming out next winter. What is it? Painting. We got some film stuff that we're doing. Grips. And some fashion pieces. So we're definitely gonna have some duffels and some backpack stuff very near future. As far as taking your money, not right now. I mean, if you support and get the book right now, that's out right now, Memoir, The Ultimate Latchkey, that'll be super dope. But we're still putting it all together as a whole. I can't really give away the name yet because we're still in the process of trademarking. We got to wait for it to clear. But yeah, if you just want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, that's where I am. I'm a creative, so I do a bunch of stuff all at once. I really don't want to be pigeonholed. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm doing right now. Yeah, that's it. Just loving life, man. Putting good energy out there.
Good stuff. That's what we want. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there then. You can find the show notes over at the Otherz website, which is theothers.net. You can also stream all the episodes there and find out how to download and subscribe and all that jazz. If you want to support the podcast and everything else that we do, which hopefully will be more in the future, you can go to patreon.com/others. That's others with a Z. And you can find all of my stuff on Instagram and Twitter at Steve R. Penny. And Dave, who isn't here this week, you can find him at King of Creams, Creams with a Z, on Instagram as well. So that's it for this week, and we will speak to you all later. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.